In a pre-taped interview with Good Morning America, the former Bachelor star got deeply personal, revealing publicly for the first time that he's gay. In his interview with Robin Roberts, Colton shared that life in quarantine this past year led him to do some soul searching and to feel comfortable publicly opening up about his sexuality for the first time. He says that his past struggle with his identity led to suicidal thoughts. Colton also added that he no longer feels this way and that opening up about being gay has led him to a much better place in his life.
I mean, I'm emotional, but I'm emotional in like such a good, happy, positive way. Um, I'm like the happiest and healthiest I've ever been in my life. I got into a place for me in my personal life that was dark and bad. And I can list a bunch of different things, but they'd all be excuses. But I think overall, the reason why now is because I got to a place where I didn't think I was ever going to share this.
Mm,
Wow. You can tell such a huge weight was lifted off of his shoulders
right.
after this interview. Since it aired, Colton has received lots of love and support from Bachelor Nation, including the franchise's executive producers of the show, who shared in a statement, quote, "We are so inspired by Colton Underwood's courage to embrace and pursue his authentic self. As firm believers in the power of love, we celebrate Colton's journey in the LGBTQIA plus community every step of the way." Also, speaking out is former Bachelor host Chris Harrison, who shared a post on his Instagram saying, quote, "Very proud of you today, Colton. Happy to see you stand up and openly live your truth. You have my love and support, my friend." Of course, this is really interesting here because that's the first time we've
Right.
heard from Chris on social media since February and the controversy that sparked by the racially insensitive comments that he made during an interview with Rachel Lindsay. But
I was
there's
surprised
another
to see him pop up. I have to admit, but I'm glad he did.
I was too, but I think it was necessary,
Right.
especially
Right.
for something like this. Another celeb who threw his support to Colton was Billy Eichner, who posted a congrats message with this throwback clip from Colton's season of The Bachelor. Billy made a brief cameo on the show and joked that Colton was the first gay bachelor. Take a look.
Look for?
No, the first thing I do, I'm gay. I know that's a shock, Colton. And that I think you should look into. Maybe you're the first gay bachelor and we don't even know. No. Put that in your promo. See you later.
Oh,
That clip
wow.
had me screaming. It really, truly did.
Look, his senses. Billy has good
Right.
senses,
He's an
obviously. I mean, some
oracle.
people, right? Some people have a great radar. Well, Colton
Apparently.
also loved it. He commented on Eichner's post saying, "Love you, love this now, and now I love being gay." Go
Yeah,
ahead,
you could.
Colton.
I love that he responded because it could have gone a
Yeah,
different way, but I'm
for
glad he's
sure.
embracing it now. But as you can tell from that clip, and also just from what we know about Colton, he has had such a long journey to get to this place. And a good chunk of that we witnessed play out on national television. I mean, just on the Bachelor franchise alone, you'll remember he first competed on the 14th season of The Bachelorette with Becca Kufrin before he became the Bachelor on season 23 that aired in early 2019. And if you remember, his whole storyline when he became the lead on this franchise was that, that he was still a virgin. He revealed that he was, he had not lost his virginity yet while he was dating Becca, and this is long before he started questioning his sexuality, which he addressed later in a book. Something that ET's Lauren Zima spoke with Colton about last year, where he actually talked about how the Bachelor franchise helped him realize his sexuality at the time.
For you to open up and share that you questioned your sexuality from being bullied, that you Googled, "Am I gay?" Those are huge things to share with people. What conclusions did you ultimately draw about yourself as you explored and questioned all that?
Well, I could say this: I never acted on anything. I think that there was questions there, and like I said, I either internalized it or moved forward with football. And the Bachelorette, for me, going on the Bachelorette was a way for me not to be able to run from a relationship, not to be scared, and to open up. And I've said that I think to you before in an interview is I'm so grateful for the franchise for helping me grow, but they continue to allow me to have these moments of self reflection to realize, hey, maybe this is why I am the way I am.
I wonder if, because that again was in 2018. I wonder if Colton thinks differently now, because I do feel like, a reality TV show isn't the place to kind of explore that, and figure that out. However, I do see a lot of critics saying, well, if he was questioning his sexuality, or if he knew he was gay at a young age, why go on a show like that? That's where I actually have to like stop and pause and think to myself, there are plenty of people in the LGBTQ community who are in unsafe and harmful environments, and they would pray to be straight, And so
Right.
I feel like, we can't judge him for that. And I feel like, take it from someone who knows. It's so easy to repress who you are and your sexuality for fear of harm or being bullying, or even just fear of uncertainty, fear of change. And so I feel like for Colton, I can only imagine that was amplified knowing that he was raised Catholic. He grew up as a football
Right.
player with a bunch of guys, and also then he became this heartthrob on national television, So I think we have to extend a little grace, and I have to also reflect and also share this part of a statement from GLAAD today. They shared that like everybody in the LGBTQ community will tell you their journey is different, and they're just
Right.
hopeful that this will inspire young kids too to live in their truth as well. And I have to agree with that.
Yeah, because there's no rule book on how to deal with your sexuality if you're confused,
Right.
right? Everybody handles it the best way they know how. So there definitely should be no judgment when it comes to that. As you mentioned, people wanting to like thinking at least that they can pray themselves out of being gay. He
Mhm.
mentioned that. He said that he felt as if this call for him to be the bachelor was God answering his prayer that, oh, he can have a wife, he can have kids, down the line. He was praying to not be gay. And he also said that he was at a point where he would have rather died than say,
Right.
I'm gay. And for someone on the outside looking in, it just makes me think of other people in the LGBTQ plus community and my friends who are so
Yes.
happy, but they also live with that, that weight on their shoulder that they might be disappointing God or that God doesn't accept them, because they were raised Catholic or,
Yeah,
in the
that's
church.
exactly right.
So to have to deal with that, I just feel like it's something that we can only relate to a little bit. If you're not in that community, you can only relate
Right.
to a little bit, because I mean, I've had moments where I felt like I wasn't being my authentic self, and I did feel like I was in a prison, but that doesn't compare to my whole being feeling like I
Right.
can't, express who I am. So I'm just glad that he found the freedom to be who he is, because I think that that freedom to truly be yourself is one of the best feelings that life has to offer, and he deserves
Yes.
that.
And that's exactly where he's at right now. But let's talk about the woman he chose during his season of The Bachelor, Cassie Randolph, because Colton also used his GMA interview to actually apologize to her. Colton gave Cassie his final rose on his season of The Bachelor, but it was a very dramatic and tumultuous season. I mean, y'all remember him jumping over the fence for her when she was trying to, peel away from the show. The two did end up breaking up in last May. They didn't get engaged, and they dated for a year and a half before they broke up. After that, Cassie actually filed a restraining order accusing Colton of stalking and harassing her. She later asked that it be dismissed, but in the interview with Robin Roberts, Colton apologized to Cassie and said that he did love her and that he made some bad choices.
It's hard for me to articulate exactly what my emotions were in going through that relationship with her was, because I obviously had an internal fight going on. I would just say that I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry for any pain and emotional stress I caused. I wish it wouldn't have happened the way it did. I wish that I would have been courageous enough to fix myself before I broke anybody else.
What'd you make of his apology there, Mel?
I think that there just needs to be more of an understanding, and I'm working on this as well, but I think as a collective, we should just really understand the fact that hurt people hurt people. I know it's a
Mm,
cliche, it's said all the time, but it's so true. So there needs to be some sort of grace, as you mentioned, and some sort of compassion here, because obviously Cassie wasn't just a girlfriend for him.
yeah.
Being with her symbolized so much for him, right? It symbolized him finally being fixed or him finally not being gay. It was so much deeper than, oh, this is just
Right.
my girlfriend. That's not condoning his actions at all.
Right.
But I see now what probably led up to him acting out in the ways that he did. And unfortunately, my heart goes out to Cassie that she, was on the opposite end of this and had to deal with, as he said, his
It,
issues.
it does provide a little more context into his behavior. However, it doesn't excuse it. That's the one thing I
Right.
will say. Like, you exploring your sexuality or trying to figure that out and who you are doesn't excuse the behaviors that Cassie claims she did to him, So I actually feel like that's a separate conversation that needs to, and healing that needs to happen with Cassie.
For
That
sure.
again might explain everything that led up to it, but it's a different journey and something that he needs to fix separately from what's going on now.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Well, it sounds like we're going to get to see more of Colton's journey soon. Multiple reports are saying that Colton is currently filming a reality series with Netflix. The series is focused on Colton living his life in the public eye as a gay man. Details are scarce, but Variety says that Olympian Gus Kenworthy will appear in the show as sort of a guide for Colton. The Olympic free skier came out as gay in an interview with ESPN in 2015. So we'll keep our eyes and ears out for that.